Hi friends, welcome back. And today we have a case of the Christophers. So here we take a look at the bones, the skeletons of public figures to help crack and crumble these illusions they've cast upon us and lift the veil and the scales from our eyes. Please do not show hate to anyone, anywhere, for any reason. We do not know these people, therefore we definitely do not hate them. Now I said a case of the Christophers because we're going to be taking a look at Christopher Waltz, Christopher Walken, and hopefully Christopher Lloyd, okay? Now Mr. Waltz makes a particularly good bad guy, a villain. And he was really good in Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and what's the other one? Oh, the Bond movies. Okay, so let's take a look at his bones, okay? Well, we can see he does have that more upside down eggy going on, a flat forehead, and a bit of the sloping shoulders, close set features. Now, it might be a bit hard to tell here, but let's take a look at him when he was younger. Well, what do we have here? And the things that I've already previously mentioned, but really notice those close set features and low set ears. That hair is really helping us out. And again here, he was quite pretty when he was younger. Here we can see that super V-shaped clavicle going on. And still quite young here, again with the things I've already mentioned, the close set features, flat forehead, low set ears. Here he is in GQ, or as I like to say, Girly Q Angle magazine. We're beginning to see some light bulbing going on with that shape of the skull. You can really see the close set features, small hands, really short arms. And here a bit older, he looks nice with the white hair, again with that small skull, the short arms with small hands, sloping shoulders, and by standing in this pose, he's offsetting his figure, in my opinion. Here's his Amazon wife, Judith Holst, who is a costume designer, and notice at her height difference. She does have heels on, but even without them, she would still be taller. If you take a closer look, you can notice a difference in their jawlines or their skulls, okay? Hers is wider, all right? Here he is in some movie, I don't know which movie, but you can see that inline footfall. Here we can see this leg is swinging out, creating a diamond shape between the two legs. The foot is angled, giving us that inline footfall. And here he is with his wife, I believe. I could be wrong, but she is knees punching forward like a toy soldier. And he has that good old crisscross applesauce. And again, with the low set ears, lack of jawline, small hands, and small arms. Now here he is walking with his daughter, I believe. Could be granddaughter, but I think it's daughter. With the crisscross applesauce going on and short arms swinging akimbo. And if you notice, the sweet little girl's arm is long and straight down by her side. Now let's take a look at Christopher Walken, okay? And wow, he has quite the feminine look going on, that more upside down egg-shaped skull, a bit of the lack of jawline, close set features, flat forehead, and we can tell here he has a curved S-shaped spine. Well, isn't this interesting? Notice he's got the pelvic tilt, that curved S-shaped spine is going on, the V-shaped clavicles, and the things I already mentioned, the smaller hands. He has a softness about him. I think he could have really been quite beautiful in his original form or design. Now he might be even younger here. He's doing that, I believe, that pyramid symbol we're so used to, or you know what, the yoni symbol. But again, with the V-shaped clavicle, he's got that softness to him. So his belly button is set a bit high, but you would never make a determination solely off a belly button. It's something good to note, but things can change and they can also be edited. Now let's take a look at him in this photo, again with that upside down eggy flat forehead. But isn't it curious? They look like they could be twins. And especially here, they definitely look like twin twins, or they were cut from the same cloth. Now, I'm not quite sure who that lady is, but she has super deep set eyes with a brow ridge, a square jawline, high cheekbones, and he has that teeny tiny skull, which is the upside down eggy. Here he is with his wife, and they decided never to have children, that he was focused on his career. So notice her super strong jawline and deep set eyes with that piercing gaze. Now, I had an interesting synchronicity while looking for his pictures. Christopher Walken danced with Judy Garland at Liza Minnelli's Sweet 16. So yesterday, Fittest Flat Earther did a video about Liza Minnelli being Lady Gaga. Okay, and also we've seen many photos of her looking exactly like Elizabeth Perkins, who looks exactly like Millie Bobby Brown. And there's Millie looking just like Judy Garland. How strange. You know, I really don't know anything about Liza Minnelli or ever see her name, so I thought it was just such a interesting synchronicity, which kind of feels like a confirmation that this came up like today when I just saw that yesterday. And yes, Liza is still alive, but I'm not going to spoil his video, but he does talk about who's now playing Liza, since Liza is now a lady. But these people play many roles, and it goes on and on and on and on. So there will be someone even before her, you know. So here he is with his wife in older age, and notice the difference in the skull. She is blocking it like it's hot, and he is that eggy, okay? She's got that piercing gaze with that long arm that hangs straight down. And oops, I left this out earlier with the short arm and the long arm. Look at the size of her hand, okay? It's very large, that squared angular jaw. Now, in 1981, Christopher Walken was on a houseboat with Robert Wagner and his wife, Natalie Wood, who allegedly fell off and drowned, and there were many conflicting reports. So Wood disappeared from the yacht, and her body was found the next morning in the water about a mile away. The autopsy ruled her death an accidental drowning, but noted bruises on her body and arms. Wagner initially said Wood was not with him when he went to bed, but later admitted in the memoir that he and Walken argued that night. And yeah, it's quite the interesting story. They've done videos on it and all kinds of stuff you can find on YouTube or whatnot. But they reopened the case in 2011, but there's still many questions concerning this event. Many think the husband did it, many think that Walken did it. You know, like unalived her and then put her in the water. But knowing what we know now about all the lies and psychological operations that are done on us, the real question should be, who is she now? Who is she now playing? So please take a look at her face and see if she looks like anyone on the world stage today. I would love to hear your thoughts. I simply don't believe a single story in the mainstream media, and I save all my empathy and compassion and love and care for those in my real reality and for real life, because that is nothing but scripted nonsense. So here he is, crisscross applesaucing. Did you ever see that music video? Crisscross applesaucing, inline footfall. And he is one where the Hormels have caused the limbs to be longer than they normally would, in my opinion. Gosh, his pants are really high. And again here with the inline footfall. Now let's just briefly look at Christopher Lloyd. Isn't this interesting, that upside down egg-shaped skull? That's Evan Peters. What the heck? They look just alike. Here are many of the roles he has played. Roger Rabbit, that was a good movie. Dennis the Menace. And I found a photo of these two together. How interesting. Upside down, eggy, close set features. He played in a movie called Walk Like a Man. But unfortunately, he doesn't. Crisscross, applesaucing. And I left this picture out earlier. Notice the long, straight arm, large hands, akimbo, straight, angular jaw, close-set features, and those deep-set eyes. But I hope you've enjoyed this case of the Christophers, and I hope you have a lovely day. Just remember, you don't need to believe me, because I'm just a silly lady on the internet that says, bones don't lie, people do. Bye.